Hello, little ducklings. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be making a custom mascot for my boyfriend, who helps me make content for this channel. He requested a purple and gray otter with pink accents, and I just happen to have 2 pink blind box otters in my collection. So I'm going to paint this little spare for him. Let's get started. Here's a concept sketch I did for him, just to make sure I got all the colors in the right place and it looked like what he was envisioning. I sent him a few different options for the eyes, and he settled on the same violet. It's going to be a little hard to get that bright color. I don't have that specific brilliant purple in my collection right now, but we're gonna see if I can try and mix something up. To start off, I'm gonna do a base coat of the Army Painter's War Paints Brush-On Primer. I really like this stuff because it's a good, strong primer that holds really well to the plastic, but you don't have to take it outside and wear a ventilator mask to spray it. This stuff has really been a game changer in me being able to get customs done, because just getting dressed up in the spray paint clothes and the mask, it just really takes a lot out of me. With a brush-on primer, I can get started on my projects a lot faster, and not have to worry about the paint chipping or peeling off as badly later on down the road. I'm gonna do about 2 coats, sometimes it takes 3, and then after that, I'm moving on to the gray paint. I have a lot of Citadels in my stash because I like to paint Dungeons & Dragons minis as well, so I tend to use those for my customs just so I don't have to buy paint I already have. I know Citadel is a bit more expensive, but I never go through the whole pots anyways. I'm going to start out only painting the head, that way I can paint the body without worrying my fingers are going to rub off the paint as I turn it around. I'll finish the head, seal it up, and then move on to the body. I really water down these paints a lot because I don't want the streakiness. It means I have to do a lot more layers, but it turns out really nice in the end. I'm always happy with the results when I do it this way. Now, I've been having trouble with this specific gray paint and only this gray paint. It tends to come out streaky no matter how much I water it down, and it just feels like it's got a more plasticky texture than any of the other paints in this collection or by this brand. I'm not sure why, but it is the exact right color I'm looking for, and it's usually the right color I gravitate to, so I keep using it anyways. The thing about these Citadel paints is that they're really pigmented, so they cloud up the water pretty fast. I'm gonna have to change this out a lot. Now, onto the accents. I've got these 2 purples here, and I think this folk art brand is a little brighter, so I'm gonna go with that. I'm going to do the purple details in the ears, as well as the whites of the eyes and the pink nose, just so that I can save some time in between drying layers. Now I'm going to go on to the details. I'm going to start out using the same purple I did for the accents as the first color of the eyes. I've never actually painted Littlest Pet Shop eyes in the Littlest Pet Shop style. I usually do some sort of highly stylized version, but I kind of want to mimic the actual original pet for this. So let's give it a try. Now for the second color, I'm going to try mixing a little bit of purple into the pink and see if I can keep that vibrancy to it. One of the problems with Citadel paints is that they don't have a whole lot of vibrant colors in their mix. They usually dry a bit duller. These are meant for more army war paints, and so they are supposed to be a little bit more, you know, muted and toned down and not bright and colorful and kid-like. But you can see, look at how pigmented that is. There's just a real difference in quality between the folk art and the other craft store acrylic paints and these. They just go on so much nicer. That's why I like to use them. They're just easy to work with. Alright, now time to move on and do the pupils. Shout out to Valentina LPS Official, who has been playing in the background the entire time while I paint. And this is where I realized I didn't put the iris color down far enough. That's okay, I'll go back and do it later. Yeah, that's looking a little better. Now for the eyelashes. I'm also just going to pop out the lines of the muzzle here a little bit more, just to give it some more dimension. I don't have a dotting tool, so I'm just going to have to brush these on and do my best to make circles. I think it will turn out okay. And there we go. Now I'm going to seal the whole head with some more of that War Paints Anti-Shine Matte Varnish. I love this stuff. I've had customs and minis and toys that I've sealed with this and have handled for well over a year, and the paint just looks as good as the day it was sealed. I am so happy with this stuff. And it's also another brush on, but it does mean you might see the brush strokes in the light. It's a trade-off, but since I use that gray paint that already has some streakiness to it, I don't really care. And there we go. He's all sealed up. Now it's time to move on to the body. I do the exact same process for the head. A couple base coats of primer. A couple coats of gray. Many coats of the thinned down purple. And then it's just painting the little toe beans pink. We'll seal it up again. And we're almost done. Just have to gloss the eyes. For that, I am once again using the war paints, but this time I'm using the gloss varnish. I'm gonna do 2 or 3 coats of this. It comes out really shiny on the first coat, but if you don't daub it up right, it can be a little streaky as well. Not that you'll see it, it'll just reflect the light like there's streaks. So I'm gonna do some thick coats of this just to try and get it as smooth as possible. And there we go. It's not as smooth and perfect as the original printed one, but, you know, it's not gonna be. It's hand painted. I am very happy with how it turned out, though. It's pretty close. But it's not just gonna be a simple paint job. One thing he likes is good, cozy overwear. Jackets, coats, vest, anything nice and fashionable. So let's sew this otter a neat little jacket as well. To make the jacket, I use 2 pieces of ribbon. It has to be double-sided ribbon. I cut the thick ribbon to size so it fits over the otter's shoulders, and seal the ends with heat. Then I fold one of the long edges over to make a collar. I snip a couple slits at the ends up to the fold, and those will become the lapels. I heat seal those as well. Next, I take a piece of thin ribbon wire and curl one end into an eyelet around my needle nose pliers. I measure out the wire to make an eyelet on the other side so that both will sit directly under the lapels. Then I sew the middle of the wire to the middle of the ribbon under the collar. And then I go to the lapels and tack them down, making sure to sew the wire down by going through the eyelet so it doesn't slide around. Now I'm going to take a couple of small pieces of thin ribbon and sew them into loops, just wide enough for a long strip of the thin ribbon to fit through. I sew these right below the lapels onto the thick ribbon to create belt loops. And then, using needle nose pliers, I pull the long piece of thin ribbon through the belt loops to make the coat waist belt. Now all that's left is to bend the wire around the shoulders of the otter so that the coat stays in place. And there you have it, one stylish and comfy jacket. And here he is, all finished. It turned out pretty close to the concept art. The gray paint is, unfortunately, still streaky, but it's not too noticeable. With that, I'll let you guys enjoy the picnic. hope y'all are starting to get the cool fall weather. As a kid, summer was my favorite season because I loved the heat. But ever since I moved away from my childhood home for college, the environment has been really different, and I've been enjoying fall a lot more. I think it's my new favorite season. Sorry, summer. What's your favorite season? Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for sticking around, and remember to tune back in on October 3rd, when I'll be posting King Sized, my Halloween special for this year. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We worked really hard on it. I'll see you then.